Welcome to Terrific Talk. My name is Tom Anderson. Tom Anderson.
Back to win the game. Gone. Back. Gone. Tom
Anderson.
Great cash, homie. Great cash, homie.
I feel ready to go another 9 innings.
Touchdown!
I feel ready to go another 9 innings.
Touchdown!
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Terrific Talk Podcast. Welcome back, Terrific Talk Podcast.
Here comes the hose!
I'm your host, Tom Anderson.
First, behind the bag! It gets through Buckner! Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it!
Welcome to Terrific Talk. I'm Tom Anderson. We're taping this podcast on a Saturday, one day before the Pro Bowl and just 8 days away from Super Bowl 47. We've got an awesome guest today, Fran Charles of the NFL Network. Fran, of course, works with Steve Mariucci, Deion Sanders, and Michael Irvin on NFL Game Day Final on Sundays, in addition to his daily show Around the League with Heath Evans and Michael Lombardi. Now, Fran's calling in today from Hawaii, where he's covering the Pro Bowl, and this is big, because he's now the first guest ever on the Terrific Talk podcast to call in from Hawaii, so this is a historic day. Fran, thanks for joining me. Welcome.
I'm not even going to tell you what the temperature is out here, because, you might want to have somebody look me up and beat me up, so it's pretty nice. I pray you guys get a little warm weather out there on the East Coast.
It's unbelievable. I mean, today, I think the high today right now is like 12 degrees here. It's miserable.
It's brutal. Well, okay, I'll let it out since you twisted my arm, but it's about 80.
Oh, my God.
Now, it wasn't all good. Earlier in the week, there was a lot of rain, but the rain the last couple of days has gone away, and it's pretty much what you would expect in Honolulu. So, not bad at all.
How beautiful is it? I mean, how is this trip been to Hawaii? I mean, I'm sure this is one of those trips where you just don't mind taking.
No, it's great. I mean, it's the third year in a row that I've done it, and it's really, it's a great trip for the players, too. And one of the big themes this year is the fact that the players might lose the game because of the level of competition the last couple of years, and in particular last year it was a glorified touch football game. But, Peyton Manning is here for the 12th time out of the 14 years that he's played. He's here, and, Peyton addressed the players Tuesday night, and he was pretty serious. I mean, he ripped into them about the quality of the game and the fact that, this trip for these guys is so much more than just a football game. It's an opportunity to talk to and pick the brains of some future Hall of Famers and guys that you just don't have an opportunity to talk to during the regular season. And these guys all stay at, for the most part, one hotel. Guys can bring their families and their parents and their aunts and uncles if they want. And it's a really good trip for the guys. And that's always been the most amazing aspect of it for me, is just to see Patrick Willis talking to Ray Lewis. It's great to see Peyton Manning hanging with Andrew Luck this week. You just see the knowledge passed on, and there's the level of respect for the game that there should be. And I give Peyton a lot of credit, because he certainly could just kind of do his thing and not, really feel like he's an ambassador, but he's taken on that lead role, and he's expressed how important he thinks this game is for the young guys, and the fact that they have to keep it going.
Yeah, you caught up with Peyton yesterday, I saw, and he talked a lot about the importance of the Pro Bowl from his perspective, and now you're talking about this meeting he's had with the players. Do you get the sense that in that meeting there that the other players kind of got the message and they're really appreciating this game and what it means?
Yeah, I definitely think they got the message. Peyton has a way with his presence and also his pedigree. I mean, they lost to the Ravens, but look, let's face it, this guy arguably is going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And really his understanding of not only football, but relationships and a sense of responsibility to help build and grow the league. So I wasn't in that meeting, but I do know a couple people who were in that meeting, and apparently he was pretty tough.
Wow.
I mean, he called guys out, and also called guys out for not being there, who just decided not to come, even though there's probably not a whole lot wrong with them. So, and you know what? I think that's good. I think the league needs a face. I'm not saying he's the only one, but what I think is really important is for guys to take ownership in the fact that this league has provided them with a tremendous way to make a living, and you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to, no one's bigger than the game. You have a responsibility to help pass the torch, grow the game, and respect the game, and that's Peyton takes that responsibility on, and it's been great to see. So it's always a fun week during the week. The guys are always great during the week. They're very relaxed. Obviously, they would rather be participating in the Super Bowl.
Right.
But it's always good to see different guys from different teams hanging out, talking, and just spending a little time together, time with the families. But they just need to make sure that the game it looks like football and not flag football or touch football.
Now, obviously, the game's in jeopardy if the quality of play is just like last year again. Do you think it's going to be better on Sunday?
I think so. I think so. There was a time, and I know guys are concerned about being injured, and I get that, but I can't remember a major injury coming from the Pro Bowl,
right.
I mean, off the top of my head. And so there was a time where there was a balance. There are usually always offensive showcases, but I remember growing up, and I remember, after that as an adult, the game looked like football. It just looked like it was high scoring. And somewhere along the lines, it changed. But I think the guys get it because I think they don't want to lose this trip. Because it's, like I said, I know the league is toyed with, they've moved it from after the season to the week before the Super Bowl, which I think also has hurt the game, quite honestly. I think it's good for the league because they get in between that week for the championship games. The Super Bowl, they get constant coverage because the guys are out here in Hawaii and guys are talking. But obviously there are guys who can't come. The teams playing the Super Bowl can't come. The Niners had 6 defensive starters who aren't here. Yeah. So I think it from that perspective it's a bit of a bummer. But I think the league and I think the players realize that the players get it that if it's not if they don't play well, it's going to go away. I know what they don't want to do is play it in the same city where the Super Bowl is, which is what they did back in 2010. They tried that out. They played it in Miami because the thing for the players there is all the benefits of having the game in Hawaii. You get away. It feels like a vacation. You're on a resort. You don't have that when it's in the same city as the Super Bowl.
Right.
There are a lot of distractions. It's tough to move around. The logistics become a bit of a nightmare. And so I think the guys definitely want to stay away from that. But we'll see how it plays out. But I expect the game to be better tomorrow night.
Well, it's pretty special as a fan to just see all these great players together in one place. You mentioned seeing Peyton talking with Andrew Luck. I know you're a Stanford guy. What have you thought about Luck this season?
I thought he's been tremendous. I know there's a lot of focus right now on the guys who can run and throw the football. RG3 got a lot of pub. Colin Kaepernick's obviously playing in the Super Bowl, and Russell Wilson did a tremendous job. And rightfully so, those guys got a lot of pub. But for me, I think Andrew Luck, a full disclosure, like you said, I went to Stanford, but just from a football perspective, I think he had the best season because, and I know people point to his 18 interceptions, and that was second highest, I think, in the league, but he also threw the ball far more than any of those other quarterbacks.
Right.
The Colts asked Andrew Luck to do far more than they did than the Seahawks asked Russell Wilson, than the Niners asked Kaepernick. I know Kaepernick's not a rookie, but this is first year really playing here. And the Redskins asked RG3. And what I mean by that is those teams, for the most part, all had very good running games, all 3 of those teams, with Gore, Lynch, and then Alfred Morris. And 2 of the 3 teams, the Seahawks and the Niners, had really good defenses. And the Redskins' defense wasn't as good, but because of their offense kept him in the game. Whereas Andrew Luck, the running back situation there was, I'm not taking away nothing from Donald Brown or Vic Ballard, but I don't think anyone's going to confuse them with the top running backs in the league. Reggie Wayne was there as a wide receiver, and he was huge. But you're talking about rookie wide receivers and T.Y. Hilton, your rookie tight ends and Kobe Fleener and Allen. And the defense, the Colts defense was transitioning from a 4-3 to a 3-4. They didn't play particularly well.
Right.
So they put it on his shoulders. I mean, he threw the ball over 600 times, second only to Matthew Stafford. I mean, he was throwing it 40, 50 times a game. And they put it on his back. And the other quarterbacks, when you look at Russell Wilson, who had a great season, and RG3, those guys threw for, I think Andrew Luck threw for like 4,400 yards. Those guys threw for like 3,200. They weren't asked to do as much. Now, that's, I mean, and good for them because they had the running games and they had the defenses, and that's how you're supposed to play football. But I just think what Luck did was so impressive because he didn't have all the pieces at his disposal like the other guys did, and he still stepped up big time. A team that won 2 games the year before, no one thought the Colts would do anything, and they won 11 games.
And you can make a pretty good argument that the Colts had the weakest offensive line out of all those teams.
Absolutely. That's another, I mean, that's another argument there.
He's been awesome. I can't wait till next season just to watch these guys blossom.
Well, what's going to be really interesting, first off, the first thing to watch is RG3.
Right.
And I think, poor Robert Griffin III, Adrian Peterson has skewed the way people view, reconstructive knee surgery.
I know.
Because of the fact that he came back with such a vengeance. By the way, you think AP's ripped? I mean, you should see his dad, Nelson. I mean,
really?
His dad is not 6'5". He's bigger than AP. His dad's like 6'5", and he is chiseled from a block of stone. It's unbelievable.
Don't mess with the Peterson.
His dad also has that bone crusher handshake. But, Adrian Peterson has upset the balance for people trying to come back from these knee surgeries. And I think that's going to be the first thing to watch, is how is Robert ready at the beginning of the season, and is he gonna look the way we expect him to look? And if he's not ready, are they gonna make sure, if he's not as mobile, are they gonna wait until he's 100% healthy, or are they gonna put him out there 80% healthy, and then try to make him kind of more of a drop back passer and take away the run threat? So that's gonna be the first thing to watch.
Yep.
And then the other aspect to watch about all these guys, I mean, Kaepernick and RG3 and Russell Wilson, is whether defensive coordinators over the offseason, because I think that's definitely going to be the number one emphasis, how do we stop, how do we play against this read option?
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to get a hold of it when you're seeing it for the first time during the season. And most coaches struggle with it. But now it's like everything in the NFL. These guys are smart, and they get paid too on the other side of the ball, and they're going to figure something out. And I know everyone is saying, "Oh, this is the way for the future." Let me see it next year. I mean, I remember the Wildcat came out, nobody could stop it, and all you do is put the running back there as opposed to the quarterback, and people were confused, defenses were confused, and now nobody uses it. Here or there you see it.
Yep.
Because defenses catch up. So to me, that's really going to be the big story next year, is will defenses catch up to this read option that has had so much success